Looking after your mental health is really important in isolated rural communities. Long hours on the farm, financial pressure and personal problems can take their toll on people. It's important we create communities that identify and support those having a tough time. That need is felt strongly here in mid-Canterbury, and last year a young shepherd, Will Gregory, died of a suspected suicide. I spoke to his friends and workmates about their memories of Will and how they think they can build a more resilient community in rural New Zealand. Welcome to the Farmer's Voice. December 2017 saw 6 young rural suicides. We're here today to discuss the after effect of those suicides on friends that have lost somebody. These 3 young men here lost a young friend called Will Gregory, and he was a good shepherd on a station in Kuria. What we'd like to do is try and make sure that those that are out there understand the aftermath of their actions of suicide and maybe take steps to prevent that, whether you know somebody or you're feeling a little bit under pressure yourself. Thanks guys, thanks for joining us. You're friends of Will Gregory, and he's a good young guy. I'd like you to tell me, Henry, you were the stock manager on the place and he worked under you?
Yeah, he'd been with us for about a year and a half, just under a year and a half. He come from Hunter Valley, down in Hawea there, and he'd been with us. He's just a shepherd there, and he was one hell of a shepherd.
Mm. And you know, good, happy-go-lucky guy to work with.
Into it, wasn't anything he couldn't do himself, and yeah, just always up for a joke or a laugh, and yeah, we sort of made the farm what it is to work at there. It was bloody good.
Mm. Matto, you had to speak at his funeral. You obviously knew him really well. What was he like socially?
Oh, look, he was great. I mean, the fellow he'd bend over backwards for you. He's probably almost too nice. Not a bad word to say about you. You know, and bloody, yeah.
Really good. A tough deal speaking at his funeral?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough deal to speak at anyone's funeral, especially one of your bloody good mates, and having to get up there in front of your peers and talk about him.
It was only a month off his 21st too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad, yeah.
Tom, what was your friendship with Will?
I suppose I met Will when he first left school, went shepherding up Rakaia Gorge, where he was working at Cleardale Station under Danny Devine, which is who he and Henry work under in Kuria. And I guess I met him there, and it was a shy wee young lad for a start, but after working at Cleardale for a year, he really come out of his shell, and he was just outgoing, up for a hunt, do anything.
And he's a good young sportsman as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he bit of peer pressure, I guess, from a man Cage, and he wanted to be a bareback rider. And
rodeo.
Yeah, rodeo, and I really did it. As we said, he was going to get wrecked and pulled together and all sorts, and wow, he proved us that he can ride a horse. The lucky man just went to Calgary.
Yeah, that's right.
Rode there, and that's any young cowboy's dream in New Zealand, really, to get over there.
You're looking back, Henry, and this is a really hard question for you. You think there's anything on the farm or in the working environment that could have been done a little bit different?
Yeah, well, it's not until something like this happens that you notice, you look back and you think, oh, these things are starting to tick off. That we're working big days for weeks and weeks, months really, trying to you get to November and you think you organise and it all goes out the window. And I did notice that Will was just scratchy or grumpy and tired, and I thought, oh, it's just because we're working hard. And it's not until something like this happens and you realise that I noticed that going on, and then it's all the what ifs come back. But
that's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing we could have done, we can't do now. But yeah, I've picked up on that. But there's sort of no coaching or that sort of stuff to pick up on that, because it's the sort of the last you think, oh, it's someone else. It's never going to be anybody I know.
Friends and family are really important, but there's also other avenues of help out there. I spoke to Angela Kushney from Rural Support Trust to see what they're doing to support rural communities.
In conjunction with the GPs, I think we're a place for people to come and have a conversation about how they're feeling, and we can assess their needs. And sometimes it's just that they want to chat and an offload and a bit of a vent about something that's happening. Other times the situation's a little bit more serious, so we look at what other support mechanisms we can put around these people.
As part of Rural Support Trust, you see a lot of different environments within rural New Zealand. What can the communities do to help rural suicide or rural mental health?
It's understanding the warning signs. So it's understanding that someone who's generally a pretty happy-go-lucky sort of person seems to be, angry or tense or gets upset, barks at the children, and that they're quite a short fuse, maybe that they're isolating themselves. I think we need to acknowledge that we're not professionals and that we should encourage people to seek professional help. Those that don't or aren't prepared to go and ask for help themselves, it's good if their loved ones go and get some tools, so they might go and talk to a counsellor so that they have some resources that they can draw on to help those around them. So the burden on one's caring for people with mental illness is huge. So it's how do we help them also.
Angela, what barriers are you coming up against as part of your role with Rural Support Trust in dealing with mental health issues?
I guess one of the number one barriers is that attitude of she'll be right or toughen up. So people aren't being taken seriously, or their needs aren't being taken seriously. So first of all, having that conversation, that's a great place to start. There's quite complicated pathways into finding help, so people have put their hand up and asked for help. So what is that pathway, what is that next step? So 100% it's the GP, but some people have got complicated situations, whether it's financial, whether they're isolated, they may not have a licence. So there are lots of barriers, physical and mental, but at every stage we've got solutions, or we've got ways that we can work around that.
So it doesn't matter how isolated you are, you're actually never alone. There are people out there that will come and help.
Absolutely. There's farmers that present as just a farmer, but there's so much more. Some of your neighbours, wives, there's opportunities to come together and just say to someone, I'm struggling at the moment, not too sure what's going on, and you don't have to have all the right words of how you say that or what that looks like. You just simply reach out to someone.
And you can reach out in a very simple way, such as watching an All Black test.
Yes, yeah.
That's all it takes.
Go for a walk, hopping on your bike. It may be that it's finding some quiet time, just some downtime.
We've talked a little bit about how communities have changed in rural New Zealand. Are our communities strong enough now to continue to help people that may need that help?
I actually believe there are. I think there's so many different ways that help presents itself, whether it's the local rugby club, squash club, school, there's book clubs. People find a way of connecting, and that reinforces those relationships that they've got. I know we used to meet friends on a Friday morning, we'd go for a bike ride, we'd share some of the things that were going on in the household. By the time you drove away, you were feeling part of something, part of a bigger thing than just you and your problems. So people do, they find what works for them.
What would you do, or what would you tell communities to do if they suspect there's a problem within somebody's life?
Okay, so whether you're a community, whether you're a family member, follow your instinct and be prepared to have a tough conversation. And your first approach, it may get rebutted, but that's okay. And be prepared to go back in again and say, no, how are you really feeling? And then be prepared to listen. So if you don't hear, if you hear okay, that they're fine the first time, be prepared to follow that up.
This is an issue that we can overcome by all working together to build strong rural communities. Communities that talk about mental health issues just like we talk about sporting injuries. Let's all work together and build a good community so it's safe for those that need it.